Hey guys, welcome back to Bright Night Tech. My name is Berto and today we're looking at part 1 of my 3D printed Spawn helmet. Here it is printing. I printed the back part on my Ender 3 Pro and the main part on my Creality CR10. Really excited about this print. It's taken about 2 days or so to print the whole thing. Let me show you where I got the file. I got the file from Thingiverse from user Budwin, and he designed this amazing model of this Spawn mask, and I'm super excited to see what we can do with it, so let's find out. Okay, so here is the print. As you can see, it came out really great. You got some lines you can kind of see, but I don't worry too much about that since I'm going to be sanding and finishing this thing, so I'm really not a perfectionist when it comes to getting a perfect print out. Usually have to fix things anyways. Here is the back part. You can see some big layer lines right there, but again, we're gonna sand it, not a big deal. Now this is designed to be wearable, so this part actually just goes on the back right here, but we are going to plastic weld it because I'm not going to be wearing it or anything. This is just going to be for display. So I also did a stand, and this is how I made the stand. First, I grabbed this Spawn logo file from this user that I'm not even going to bother to try to say the name. This is like a coin size thing, and I blew it up to match the size of the Sentinel Props helmet bases, just like this. And once I matched it, this is what came out. I think it came out really good. I tried to match the same thickness. The only thing I had to do was add the hole for the pole in the rest of the stand, which comes standard with the Sentinel props, so I just had to match that same size. Something I noticed about the print, I don't know if this was intentional because originally it was the size of a coin, but there's these tiny little slits that you can see through. I don't know if the designer meant to do that or not, but not a huge deal. I can definitely fix that later. And the pole just goes right here. Again, this is just a standard size pole. Alright, so let's get started on the helmet. I like to start with this wood filler. I use this Elmer's brand. This little bin has been useful for like 5 different helmets, so it lasts a long time. And I put a little bit of water to reconstitute it when it dries out. And I'm just going to put a thin layer all over this. Now, usually what I do is I take a palm sander and I sand the helmet while it's still a raw print, and then do wood filler. This time I'm going to try to do a little bit different and do the wood filler without sanding it first. And it's all covered, so we're going to leave it to dry overnight. Alright, now it is dried and ready to go. I noticed a big mistake that I made. So I told you guys I was going to attach the back here, and usually what I do is I will plastic weld this while it is still a raw print. Now I have to take this palm sander and sand this out, try to make it smooth as possible so I can try to stick them together and then plastic weld them. You do not want to try to plastic weld them after you do a wood filler. I don't know why I did that. I normally do this right, but I think because I changed that one step, that's what happened. So I'm going to super glue this and put it in place. And then once I do that, I'm going to try to plastic weld it. But yeah, you definitely want to do this while it's still a raw print, and then do wood filler all around it to cover it up instead of doing it this way, because yeah, it doesn't make sense to do it this way. Alright, so now that it's glued together in one piece, now we are going to go ahead and take our melting tool, which is essentially a small soldering tool, but you know, it's they sell it as a plastic melting tool. So we're going to try to fill in those gaps. So I like to take some leftover filament, hold it in place, and then hold my melting tool right up against it and just press it until it melts it into place. And I'm going to go down that whole seam until the whole thing is filled up. Alright, here we go. If you guys want me to do a video just about plastic welding, let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. But there are a ton of videos out there of people doing that, so you may not need me to do it. Alright, now let's do some wood filler. Alright, I'm going to take very generous blobs of wood filler to fill in these giant gaps, just like that. And then we're going to let this dry overnight. Alright, it is dried overnight, and you can see it's all nice and globbed on there. It's on pretty thick, so we are going to have to sand it down just to make everything leveled and flushed. So I'm going to start with a 120 grit, which might be a little higher than I would normally want to use. But there we go. I'm going to take a file, work on these eyes, get them nice and clean. Okay, here is the result. Still pretty rough, but looks good. We're going to spray it with some filler primer now. Okay, I'm going to take some filler primer and just go through the whole thing. This is the last bit of this can that I have, so we are going to be very, very generous and just use all of it up everywhere. There we go. Pretty much fully covered. We're going to try to do some more spots over here. You're going to sand it down anyway, so it's okay if it gets a little gloppy. Not a big deal. And then we're trying to get it smooth as possible. All right, here we are, and we're going to let it dry overnight, and then next time we are going to do a little more wood filler, a little more filler primer, and sand it down until it looks beautiful and paint it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and put in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button for notifications, and we will see you next time.